Jack was a curious boy. He loved to explore. One day he found something magical. It was a handful of beans. A mysterious man had traded them for Jack's cow.
Jack's mother was furious. She threw the beans out the window.
The next morning, something amazing happened. A giant beanstalk had grown overnight. It reached high into the clouds. Jack was curious. He wanted to see what was at the top. He took a deep breath and started to climb. Jack lived with his mother. Times were tough. They lived in a small, humble house that had seen better days. The walls were thin and the roof leaked whenever it rained. Jack's mother worked tirelessly, but it was never enough. They often went to bed with empty stomachs, dreaming of better days. They didn't have much money. Every penny was counted and every meal was a challenge. Jack's mother would often sigh, looking at the empty wallet on the table, wondering how they would make it through another day. Jack, though young, understood their plight and wished he could do more to help. One day, Jack's mother told him to sell their cow, Bess. Bess was their only source of income, providing milk that they could sell or trade for other necessities. But now even Bess had to go. Jack felt a pang of sadness as he led Bess down the familiar path, knowing this might be the last time he would see her.
Jack went to the market. The market was bustling with activity, filled with the sounds of merchants calling out their wares and the chatter of townsfolk. Jack weaved through the crowd, holding tightly to Bess's lead, hoping to find a good buyer who would give them a fair price. He met a man with some strange beans. The man was peculiar, with a twinkle in his eye and a mysterious air about him. He approached Jack with a curious smile, holding out a small pouch filled with beans that seemed to shimmer in the sunlight.
"These aren't ordinary beans," the man said. "They're magic." Jack was easily persuaded. The man spoke of wonders and miracles, of beanstalks that reached the heavens and treasures beyond imagination. Jack, captivated by the man's words and the allure of the beans, felt a glimmer of hope. Maybe these beans could change their fortunes. He traded Bess for the beans. With a mix of excitement and trepidation, Jack handed over Bess's lead and took the pouch of beans. The man disappeared into the crowd as quickly as he had appeared, leaving Jack standing there, clutching the beans and wondering if he had made the right choice. When Jack got home, his mother was angry. She had hoped for money to buy food and essentials, not a handful of beans. Her frustration boiled over and she scolded Jack for being so gullible. The weight of their dire situation pressed heavily on her, and the beans seemed like a cruel joke.
She threw the beans out the window. In a fit of anger and despair, she grabbed the beans from Jack's hand and hurled them out the window, watching them scatter across the garden. Jack could only stand there, feeling a mix of guilt and sadness, knowing he had let his mother down.
Jack felt bad. He had hoped to bring back something that would make their lives better, but instead he had only added to their troubles. He sat alone, staring out the window at the scattered beans, wishing he could turn back time and make a different choice. He went to bed hungry that night. The house was quiet, save for the occasional creak of the old wooden floorboards. Jack lay in bed, his stomach growling and his mind racing with thoughts of what could have been. He drifted off to sleep, hoping that tomorrow would bring some relief. When he woke up, he saw something amazing. The first rays of sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow on the room. Jack rubbed his eyes and sat up, feeling a sense of anticipation. He looked out the window and gasped in astonishment. A giant beanstalk had sprouted in the garden. It was unlike anything Jack had ever seen. The beanstalk was massive, its thick green stem twisting and turning as it reached skyward. Leaves the size of dinner plates rustled in the morning breeze, and the beanstalk seemed to pulse with a life of its own. It was taller than the trees. The beanstalk towered over everything in the garden, casting a long shadow that stretched across the yard. Jack's heart raced with excitement and curiosity. He wondered what lay at the top of this incredible plant. It seemed to touch the sky. The beanstalk disappeared into the clouds, its top hidden from view. Jack felt a sense of wonder and adventure bubbling up inside him. He knew that this beanstalk was no ordinary plant and that it held the promise of something extraordinary. With a determined look, Jack decided that he would climb the beanstalk and discover its secrets, no matter what challenges lay ahead. Jack was nervous, but excited. He began to climb the beanstalk. Up and up he went. The climb was difficult. Jack didn't give up. He climbed for hours. Finally, he reached the top.
The world above the clouds was strange and beautiful. There was a huge castle in the distance. It was made of stone. Jack was very hungry. He decided to go to the castle and ask for food.
Jack knocked on the castle door. A woman opened it. She was very tall and had a grumpy face. Jack politely asked for some dinner.
"My husband is a giant," the giant's wife whispered. "He eats people. You have to hide."
Just then the ground shook. The giant was home. He was enormous. He had a booming voice. Jack peeked out from his hiding place. The giant ate a huge meal.
Then he shouted, "Fee, fee, fo, fum, I smell the blood of an Englishman."
The giant's wife calmed him down. She spoke in a soothing voice, her words like a gentle lullaby that eased the tension in the air. There, she said, patting his back gently. "Everything will be all right. You have nothing to fear."
After the giant went to bed, the giant's wife showed Jack a wonderful thing. It was a hen, but not just any hen. This hen had a magical quality that made it incredibly special. She held it up for Jack to see, her eyes twinkling with a mix of fear and hope.
"This hen lays golden eggs. Take it and never come back." Her voice was urgent, almost pleading. She knew the danger that lurked if the giant discovered her act of kindness. "Go now before it's too late," she added, her eyes darting nervously towards the giant's chamber.
Jack was amazed. He thanked the giant's wife, even though he knew she had only given him the hen out of fear of her husband. He could see the worry etched on her face, and he felt a pang of guilt. But the allure of the golden eggs was too strong to resist. Jack quickly left the castle with the hen. He climbed down the beanstalk, his heart pounding with excitement and fear. Each step down felt like an eternity, but he knew he had to hurry. The hen clucked softly in his arms, as if sensing the urgency of their escape.
Jack and his mother were rich. The golden eggs brought them wealth beyond their wildest dreams. They no longer had to worry about food or shelter, but Jack couldn't stop thinking about the giant's castle. The adventure, the danger, and the mystery of it all lingered in his mind. He wondered what other treasures might be hidden there, waiting to be discovered. His mother noticed his restlessness and asked, "What's on your mind, Jack?" He hesitated, then replied, "I can't help but think about the giant's castle. There's so much more to explore." His mother sighed, knowing that her son's curiosity was insatiable. "Just be careful," she warned. "We have enough now. We don't need more trouble." Jack nodded, but deep down, he knew that his adventures were far from over. The giant's castle held many secrets, and he was determined to uncover them all. A few weeks later, I decided to climb the beanstalk again.
He reached the top and sneaked into the castle. The giant was sleeping. Jack saw a pile of gold coins. He quickly grabbed as many as he could carry.
I ran out of the castle and climbed down the beanstalk as fast as I could.
Jack and his mother had even more money now, but Jack still wasn't satisfied. Jack climbed the beanstalk a third time. He wanted something even better. The first time he climbed, he found a bag of gold coins. The second time, he discovered a goose that laid golden eggs. But Jack was not satisfied. He had heard rumors of a magical harp that could play the most enchanting music anyone had ever heard. This time, he was determined to find it. As he reached the top, he saw a beautiful golden harp. It played the most wonderful music, filling the air with melodies that seemed to come from another world. The harp was unlike anything Jack had ever seen. Its strings glowed with a golden light, and the music it produced was so captivating that it made the leaves on the trees dance.
I had to have it, Jack thought to himself. He could already imagine the joy and wonder it would bring to his village. The harp's music could lift the spirits of everyone who heard it. It could turn the darkest days into moments of pure magic.
But as Jack grabbed the harp, it cried out in alarm. The harp was enchanted, and it had a voice of its own. It began to shout, its strings vibrating with urgency.
"Help! Help!" The harp's voice echoed through the giant's castle, reaching every corner and crevice.
The giant woke up. He was furious. His booming voice shook the ground as he roared in anger. The giant had been in a deep sleep, dreaming of his treasures, and now he was awake and enraged.
"Who dares to steal my harp?" The giant's voice was thunderous, and his eyes blazed with fury. He looked around, trying to find the intruder who had dared to disturb his slumber and steal his precious harp.
He chased after Jack. Jack ran faster than he ever had before. He could hear the giant's heavy footsteps behind him, each one shaking the ground. Jack's heart pounded in his chest as he sprinted towards the beanstalk. He knew he had to get down before the giant caught him. He jumped off the beanstalk, sliding down its rough surface. His mother was waiting below, her face filled with worry and fear.
"Quick! Chop down the beanstalk!" Jack shouted to his mother. He knew that the only way to stop the giant was to cut down the beanstalk, severing the connection between their world and the giant's realm.
"Oh, Jack! Hold on!" his mother cried out, her hands trembling as she grabbed the axe. She swung it with all her might, chopping at the base of the beanstalk. The beanstalk began to sway and creak, its massive structure starting to give way. With a final, mighty swing, the beanstalk snapped and began to fall. The giant, who was halfway down, lost his grip and tumbled to the ground with a thunderous crash. Jack and his mother watched as the beanstalk fell, their hearts racing. The giant lay motionless, defeated by their quick thinking and bravery. Jack and his mother embraced, relief washing over them. The golden harp lay beside them, its strings still glowing with a soft golden light. They had done it. They had outsmarted the giant and brought the magical harp back to their village. The harp's music would bring joy and wonder to their lives, and they would always remember the adventure that led them to it.
Jack's mother grabbed an axe. She chopped down the beanstalk. The giant came crashing down to earth with a terrible thud.
No!
He was defeated. Jack and his mother were safe. They had the golden hen, the gold coins, and the magical harp. They never saw the giant again. Jack and his mother lived happily ever after. They were very rich. But more importantly, Jack had learned his lesson.
I didn't need to be greedy anymore.
He was happy with his family and his adventures, and he never traded a cow for beans again.
We're so proud of you, Jack.
And so they lived happily ever after.